an orphanage. There was a big orphanage
Yeah.
in Newcastle. You get the food at the orphanage free.
Dad, tell me about that grading system again.
The which?
The grading system again for the school. A was what?
People who are sane.
Sane? Okay.
And
B,
smart.
not quite sane. C were dummies. And 4 were gardening.
D.
D.
That's all they did. They didn't do academic work.
No.
Gardening,
Isn't that
cleaning up the
So if you got a
school
D,
grounds.
you were a gardener.
Hey?
If you got a D, you were a gardener.
Yeah, cleaning up, mowing the lawns, and we had 2 football grounds. They'd go out and clean up the football pitches, you know, where they put the white lines down and stuff like that.
Well, how did they feel towards people like you who took regular classes?
It was just a mixture, yeah. Everybody did. Because they were in grade, let's say they were in the D's, it didn't mean that they weren't human, you know.
Oh, well, that's nice, Les.
Well, I mean, they were friends.
Yeah,
See?
yeah.
He's in D. Some guys used to think being in D was a good deal because you didn't do anything, but you learned how to do all kinds of jobs, and even did a little bricklaying and stuff like that. And
Oh, that's interesting.
we were quite
Never
happy,
heard of that.
all those kids in D.
I've never seen a school like that, Jill.
But when the football was, we had a football team which was unbeatable in Newcastle.
Of course it was.
Yeah, you know, for boys, schools across and nobody could beat the school I went to. We'd play some of these other schools, you know, 25 to 0. What was
25 to 0.
We had,
Do you totally believe your father?
no, when I was when I was at school, there was a guy called Jimmy Mullen. He was in, like, let's say when I was 11, he was in the 14th. He was a boy, schoolboy international. They had quite a few in this school. Quite a few kids would play for Newcastle United boys team. He went to play for England, and he went to Wolverhampton, which was a big football team. He went there when signed up when he was 14. Played for England when he was 17. We had quite a few guys like that did well in the sports areas. It was a strange class you ever seen. The guy, teacher, his name was Burke. He was a maniac. You know the blackboards?
Yeah.
On top of the blackboard he'd have 4 tennis balls, you know. And when he was doing something on the blackboard, he'd reach up and grab a tennis ball, turn around and throw it at some guy. And one day, some guy caught it and threw it back on him. Edgar was one step ahead of me. His birthday was a little different than mine. Crazy place, but it's a good school.
Oh, as long as you were in the A's.
I had a report card, you'd never believe it. I had 100% in 9 subjects.
Do you
I think
believe
I
that?
told you about Mr. Stouffer. When I was 14, he came to me and said, there's a test for telephone boys, you know, telegram boys. I was riding a bicycle, delivering telegrams, and I had the test, and he arranged me to go and have the test. I had the test and I came out first. Told me you're first. I never got the job.
No.
I think because I was, you know, Irish immigrant father, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I had a report card which showed 100% in 9 subjects. I even won a prize.
I think we should stand up and bow.
Mm.
Jill?
Dad,
Yeah.
tell me about when you were a runner during the war, when you had to take messages.
Oh yeah, well I joined the Home Guard when I was 14.
Yeah.
I was a runner. We had a Home Guard, it was like in case of parachute invasion and stuff like that. They had groups of soldiers, but we didn't have enough soldiers, so that have civilians, just like what it was like in Germany at the end of the war. You know, everybody had a goal. But you had to have a runner, because in those days you didn't have walkie-talkies or stuff like that. Some guy had to run from one place to another place.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a runner. You know. Then I worked at this factory that had a flat roof. And I was only making about 7 and 6pence a week wages. But if you did what they call fire guard, I think we got about 2 and 6pence plus your supper.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to stay all night. They had like beds on the top floor, and if incendiary bombs fell on the building, you had a shovel with a 10-foot handle. And you were supposed to go and pick up the bomb and throw it over the side of the building. Put it into a bucket of water or something like that.
It's pretty
I had
scary.
that job. But, guys, you had to do it like a rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I'd do it one night, so I said I did it on Monday. And some guy would come to me and say, you want to do my fire watch tonight? I'll give you 3 shillings. Okay. So I used to do about 4 or 5 fire watches a week. We used to play cards all night and lose the money.
Of course.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
Happy times.
And then you became old enough to join.
I joined when I was 17, and that was a happy time for me. So I joined the Marines, was very good. It was great. Good food, good uniforms, pay. Wasn't very much to pay, two shillings a day or something. But it was good. I would have stayed in it. But at the end of the war, they getting rid of them as fast as they could.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've often said the Navy's a good life for a guy, but not if he gets married.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But Portsmouth was a peculiar place because you had families that were naval and marine families.
Mm-hmm.
They had maybe, say, 3 or 4 sons, and each one was in either the Marines or the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And the father was probably an ex-Navy man too. And,
Yeah.
so he always had one son in China and the other one in South Africa, the other one in the Atlantic or somewhere. And, they were naval families.
Well, one of your brothers was in the Navy, wasn't he?
No, not in the Navy.
What was he in? Because I...
Army.
Army?
Yeah.
And then you had the one that was overseas.
They were all overseas. Edward was in India, Johnny was in the 8th Army in Africa and Italy.
Yeah.
Brother Martin was in the regiment called the Green Howards from, forget the name of the town they come from. You've heard of Castle Howard and all this
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Originally, they had their own armies, these guys, you know,
Oh, I
500-600
see.
years ago. And so they were like a traditional thing, I suppose. He was in Africa,
Which is the one?
Sicily.
The,
Hey?
that died, that's in Italy.
And that
There.
was Martin. Yeah.
That was Martin.
Yeah. I've got a thing up in the thing there. In the, oh, Martin. Did you ever see it, Joe? I guess you did. You
Yeah,
got it
I
for me.
found it. Yeah,
You found it.
yeah,
for me.
sent it to you.
So you have it?
No, Dad, I give it to Dad.
Oh,
If you go, if you go back to Italy, maybe you should go and visit that.
yeah, and we've never been quite that far south, because it was quite far south where he died, wasn't it?
Mount Cassino.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is south.
Yeah, we weren't south of Rome. We've been all the way north and east and everything, but never further south. And I wouldn't mind going further south, because some nice places to see there.
In the Navy was a sister called Nora.
Yeah.
Her husband was in the Navy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He became
Was that Nora the last one to die?
no, she was the first one to die.
The first. Okay, who was the one who we no longer hear from?
Sally died.
Sally. Yeah, I remember Sally.
She was about 90, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we met her. We went to Newcastle, and she was 89 at that time, and I guess she died the following year. But you have the other sister that we got a card from, Agnes. Every year, and last year we didn't get one. Do you know how many years that is? How old she would be? Like she'd be 100. She really would.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
Really?
But Nora's husband became a captain in the British Royal Navy.
Mm-hmm.
So she traveled with him after the war to different parts of the world, like where they had big naval bases, like Malta.
Yeah.
She was in Malta, she was in Gibraltar. She lived there.
Mm-hmm.
A senior officer's wife, daughter thing. They were allowed to have private accommodations and this kind of stuff. They had a son, and they sent him to private boarding school in England. When he came out, he joined the Merchant Navy.
Mm-hmm.
He became, he was on the big oil tankers as a navigator and this stuff. And we got a letter from Pat just a little while ago saying that his name was Terry. He died, he was 65. He was captain of one of these big oil recovery ships.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. And that's the path that we've seen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That we visited with a couple of times. And had in Toronto as well.
Yeah.
Remember she came to Toronto? We took her up to Barry's Bay.
Yeah, that was Pat, and his son was
He's
Peter.
he's a police officer.
Yeah, he was a sergeant detective when we knew him. I don't know what he is now.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have a baby boy, but I don't know if they have any more children. We haven't been in touch with her. We should, because she's still at the same place.
he built a house and
Yeah.
in a small, mostly, you call it a hamlet,
It was a hamlet.
about maybe
10 houses.
20, 30 houses
I don't think it was that many.
in the middle of,
Yeah.
but in the Cheerios Hills.
Yeah.
He built a house, and the basement in the house, he had a special basement built for his dogs. He had 2 Labradors. And I presume he was what they call a hill walker. You know, people walk the hills over there. And he had two dogs. Well, when we seen him, he hadn't finished the house, had he?
No, it was almost finished. But he hadn't married the girl yet. We'd met the girl, but they hadn't married yet.
Did we meet the girl?
Yeah, we met her one
wow.
other time.